afternoon. I'm Shabina Shah, Assistant Professor, Miyasi Institute of Management. Today we are going to discuss the concept statistical quality control in the subject operations management. What is meant by statistical quality control? Statistical quality control is a combination of three different concepts: statistics, quality, and control. Statistics is a practice or science of collecting and analyzing large quantities of numerical data for the purpose of inferring certain valuable meaning from it. Okay. And what is meant by quality? Quality, we all know, it's a standard which is used to measure against other things of a similar kind. Or in simple terms, it can be said that it refers to a worthiness of a product. According to Juran, the quality guru, quality means fitness for purpose. That means if I buy something, it should be rendering the or performing the function for which it is bought. That is quality. Next comes the term control. It refers to the function of management, a very basic function of management, which we have been studying from our school days. It refers to checking of errors and taking corrective action if there are any deviations. Okay, so control purpose, the function of control is mainly to check for errors and taking corrective action if there are any deviations. Now, when these three things are put together, that becomes statistical quality control, which in simple terms can be said that application of statistical techniques to control the quality of goods and services manufactured by the organizations. Now, next is the objectives of statistical quality control. The main objective of SQC is to monitor the production throughout the various stages of the manufacturing process. The second objective is to eliminate non-conformities and their subsequent consequences. Now, what are non-conformities? When a particular good product, manufactured product, does not conform to these specified standards in terms of its dimension, that particular product is considered as non-conforming product, or in other terms, a defective product, which is not up to the quality mark. Okay. And the next objective is to eliminate rework and waste of resources. So the objective of quality control or statistical quality control is to eliminate rework. What is meant by rework? A defective product sometimes is capable of being reworked on it and made to conform the standards. This rework or a defective product result in wastage of resources, which we have to avoid. So one of the objective of SQC is to eliminate rework and wasted resources. And the overall objective of any manufacturing activity or any concepts of quality control is to avoid wastage and to achieve all the objectives at the lowest possible cost. Next is, we'll see the history of SQC and who developed this concept of SQC. It was pioneered by Walter Shewhart at Bell Laboratories in the early 1920s. You look at this, he is the father of statistical quality control. He was a physicist and a statistician. He was the one who was pioneer in developing the control charts, which are considered as the most important tool in the concept of statistical quality control. Shewhart consulted with Colonel Leslie and he played a very prominent role in the application of these control charts in the US military munitions, manufacture of munitions and in the US military. Next, another important contributor to quality control or statistical quality control is Deming. He is one of the most important architect of making short courses that train the American industries in the new techniques, particularly during the World War II. And he also traveled to Japan to introduce this concept of SQC to Japanese industry. Next, we'll move on to the three broad categories or three broad divisions of statistical quality control. First one is descriptive statistics. Next one is acceptance sampling, and the third one is control charts. Now, control charts or the statistical process control. First one is descriptive statistics. Now, what is this descriptive statistics? We all know, postgraduate students or graduate students must have been doing research. Those who are doing research will know this very well, that descriptive statistics are the statistics which are used to describe quality characteristics and relationships between variables. We'll see that the descriptive statistics in detail. There are three broad areas or tools, we can say, which are used in the descriptive statistics. First one is the mean, the range, and the standard deviation. What is the mean? We all know this. We have been studying from our school days. Mean means the average. Okay, and the formula for doing calculating mean is x bar is equal to summation of xi divided by n, where x means the mean, xi means the observation. That is I is equal to 1 to 10, 1 to n number of variables, and n is equal to the number of observations. Now this will describe us the mean value of all the observations taken. Next comes the range. It is the difference between the largest and the smallest observation in a set of data. That is, range is equal to maximum value minus minimum value, or largest value minus smallest value. The next is the standard deviation. A standard deviation is a statistical tool that measures the amount of data dispersed around the mean. This is the formula for standard deviation, which is equal to root of summation of x minus x bar the whole square divided by n. The third part is the distribution of data. Now, this descriptive statistic tool is used to measure the quality characteristics in the shape of distribution of the observed data. This data distribution is usually represented with the form of graphs. Mostly it is graphical representation. Now you see, when a distribution is symmetric, that means there are the same number of observations below and above the mean value. This is what we commonly find when there is a normal distribution, normal variation in the present data. We all must have been familiar with the normal distribution curve or the bell curve. This bell curve is a graphical representation of symmetric data. Whereas when the data is disproportionate, or when the number of observations are either below or above the mean, that means we say that the data has a skewed distribution. Now look at this diagram, which clearly indicates what is a symmetric distribution and what is a skewed distribution. You see this? This is a normal curve, normal distribution curve, or the bell curve, which clearly shows the distribution is symmetric. All the mean, median, mode, everything falls in the same line. Whereas here, this picture itself clearly shows that the distribution is skewed to the right side, or sometimes it may skew to the left side, where the mean, median, and mode are falling in different ranges. Next, another tool which is used, or graphical tool which is used in descriptive statistics, is the histogram. It is a graphical representation of, again, the distribution of normal numerical data. See, in this graph, you can clearly see that on the y-axis, frequencies, number of observations are depicted, and on the x-axis, the height in feet of the black cherry trees is represented. Now you can see on every observation what is the height of the different kinds of trees. So this clearly shows the way in which the data collected or the observations made is distributed. Next important category, the second important category in statistical quality control is acceptance sampling. Acceptance sampling is the second branch of SQC, which is normally used in inspecting the finished goods or the raw materials. Now, with the help of this tool, the batch or a lot of products which are manufactured are either rejected or accepted. So this acceptance sampling is used to determine whether to accept a particular batch of goods manufactured or to reject the particular lot or batch of goods manufactured. Now here this acceptance sampling is totally based on the sampling inspection. That is inspecting few items from the whole batch or a lot and deciding whether to accept or reject that particular batch or lot. This sampling involves sampling of finished items before shipment or finished components before to assembly. Some companies manufacture components and parts for using it into the final assembly of the products. For example, clutch plates in an automobile car manufacturing company. If a car manufacturing company manufactures clutch plates, the clutch plates have to be inspected before they are added or assembled into the car. So sampling inspection can also be used, or it is also used in case of assembly inspecting the components. Where 100% inspection is expensive, okay, acceptance sampling proves to be very useful. Okay, where 100% sampling is expensive, time consuming or destructive in nature, acceptance sampling is used. Now what is meant by this destructive nature of 100% inspection? Now suppose if a company is manufacturing crackers, the crackers, if we have to test crackers, 100% inspection is done in case of testing of crackers quality. We will be only ending up making crackers and testing it. If we keep testing all the 100%, if we're doing 100% inspection for testing, all the crackers will be destroyed. So in such cases, sampling, acceptance sampling or sampling inspection is used, very much useful. Now, in acceptance sampling, we have different sampling plans. Okay, a single sampling, double sampling, or depending upon the requirements, we can choose. So the goal of acceptance sampling is to determine the criteria for acceptance or rejection based on the size of the lot, size of the sample, and the number of defects, basis of which the lot will be rejected, and the level of confidence which we wish to attain. So there is some single plan, double plan, or multiple sampling plan. Which one is to be used depends upon the cost involved in it, the time consumed in it, and the cost of passing a defective item as accepted. It can be used on either variable measures or attribute measures. Variable measures refer to the dimensions like length, breadth, width, depth, everything, or attributes like appearance, but more commonly used for attributes. Now, acceptance sampling, there is a particular tool used for the acceptance sampling, which is called as the operating characteristic curve. OC curve or the operating characteristic curve are graphs which shows the probability of accepting a lot given various proportion of defects in the lot. On x-axis, okay, we are measuring the percentage of items that are defective in a lot, or in simple terms it can be called as the lot quality. On y-axis, probability or chances of accepting a lot is defective. A proportion of defects increases. As the proportion of defects decreases, the chance of accepting the lot increases. Okay. So for example, 90% chance of accepting a lot arises or occurs when the percentage, when there is a 10% chance of, when there is a 5% defectives. You see, once again, when the defects are only 5% or between 5% and 6%, the percentage of acceptance of that particular lot is 90%. Now, the various terms used in operating characteristic curve, AQL is the small percentage of defects that consumers are willing to accept. Average acceptance quality level. LTPD is the limit of percentage defective items consumers are willing to tolerate. This is the upper limit. Okay, in a product, this is the percentage or this is the limit up to which the defects can be tolerated by the customers. Then there is a producer's risk, that is represented by alpha, is the chance of a lot containing an acceptable quality level getting rejected. This error is called as type 1 error. Then consumer's risk is the chance of accepting a lot that contains greater number of defects than the LTPD limit. This error is called as a type 2 error. Okay. Now, acceptance sampling is again explained elaborately. Average outgoing quality or AOQ. This is the expected proportion of defective items that will be passed to the consumer under the sampling plan, where PAC, that is probability of accepting a given lot. PAC is probability of accepting a given lot. Usually, we assume the fraction in the previous equation to equal 1 and simplify the equation to the following form. That is, average outgoing quality is equal to PAC, that is probability of accepting a lot, into P. So the formula, the equation C, this equation AOQ is equal to P into alpha, then beta, then population minus sample. N is population, number of items in the lot, and small n is the number of items in the sample. Big N or capital N can be also called as the population. PD, true percent defective of the lot, and PA is probability of accepting the lot. So all this formula is simplified to arrive at this particular formula, that is percentage or probability of accepting a given lot. Now the next part is the statistical process control. This statistical process control is a very important concept in SQC mostly, because as far as the quality control is concerned, we have been always thinking what comes to our mind is about the product quality. But the quality of product is also influenced by the quality of the process which is used to manufacture the products. So it is very essential that we keep the process which is used for manufacturing the goods to be kept under the control. It is important to keep the process of manufacturing the goods and services to keep it under control. Now this statistical process control measures the value of a quality characteristic. Why SPC is most important? Because it helps to identify the change or variation in some quality characteristic of the product or the process. Now, the causes of variation or source of variation in the process. What are the variable sources of variations? There are two possible sources. One is common and assignable cause of variation. Okay, these causes are the variation of random causes that cannot be identified. Assignable causes of variation can be identified and eliminated. This common and non-assignable causes. Non-assignable causes, like it cannot be identified easily, and it is not due to human being or machine cause. Whereas assignable causes can be human causes or man causes, human causes or machine causes. Now, to understand the concept of the statistical process control, Shewhart developed control charts, and these control charts proved to be a very important tool in understanding whether the process is under control or not. Now, if you see the definition or meaning of control chart, it is a graph. It is a graphical representation that shows whether a sample of data collected fall within the common normal range of variation. The common range of variation is defined by the use of control chart limits. Now, what are these limits? There is upper control limit, there is lower control limit, and the center line. So any data which is collected with respect to the process should fall between upper control limit and the lower control limit. If the data, sample data which is collected regarding the process goes beyond these two, beyond the upper limit or the lower control limit, then the process is said to be out of control. Whereas if the data falls between these two categories limits, then it is said that the process is under the control. Now, there are various types of control charts, basically two: variable control charts and attribute control charts. Variable control chart refers to the charts which can measure the quality characteristics in terms of weight, weight, height, volume, dimensions, etc. The most popular charts used for the variable charts are X bar chart and the R chart, which is also called as range chart. X bar chart is also called as mean chart. Whereas attribute charts are used for measuring the attributes of a product and deciding whether to let the product go or not go. For example, finish of a paint on a car. Okay, appearance of the product. These are the various characteristics which are measured through the attribute chart, and the most commonly used charts are P chart and C chart. Now, before going into the detail of the types of chart, this is a normal, a general representation of a control chart. See here, on the x-axis, time is measured, time and measurement is specified. This is just a normal depiction. In detail, we'll be discussing about various types of chart. There are upper control limits and the lower control limits. This is upper control limit, this is lower control limit, and this is the central line. Now, the data which we collect regarding the process should fall between these two lines, upper control limit and lower control limit. So this particular process is between the data observed is falling between these two limits. That means that the process is very much under control. Only in this case, okay, in this particular point 3, the process is slightly going below the control limit, lower control limit. So this is out of point control. Some special cause which has to be identified. Now with this,